Hello, this is going to be another Snippets and a second one about Nanan. So it's Nanan Part 2. Um, Nanan was a lovely lady, as I've said already in another snippet, and I got on with her really well. Now, I've already talked about her jewellery box and wardrobe and things and how she allowed me to look around all that. One of the other things about Nanan was she wore very sensible shoes because she was elderly and a bit wobbly on her feet. um, they're always absolutely beautifully polished and, shining, really shining. And she had quite a few pairs of shoes. I used to like looking at those when I was younger. So those were her shoes. She never wore trousers ever. So it was always skirts or dresses and stockings with suspenders, which we don't very often see these days. And she wore hats as well, a bit like the hats that you might see in old in dramas about the 1940s, 1950s, or even earlier, like Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, used to wear, and like the Queen always wore, Queen Elizabeth II always wore. Um, my grandmother used to buy new clothes and new hats and new shoes and coats and everything quite regularly. And sometimes after I learnt to drive and had a car, I used to take her into Leeds to her favourite shop, which was called Schofield's. And it was a family-run department store where you could buy almost everything. And there was a nice cafe. The cafe was high up on the top floor, I think. And Nana and I used to go and have some cake and a drink. She'd have coffee or tea, and I would have fruit juice or coffee because I was driving by then, so I used to have coffee sometimes. And while you were in this cafe, models used to come walking around displaying some of the clothes and outfits that were for sale on other floor in the shop further down below, which I remember. And they always walked very, like this. They weren't like models on the catwalk. Nowadays, if you see a film of a fashion show, nowadays they're sort of all over the place doing all this sort of, sort of thing. They walked very prim and properly between the tables, and you know, like that. But the nose is in the air a bit as well. Anyway, that was going shopping with Nanan. Oh, we also went shopping for hats, and I remember in the hat department in Schofield's, Nanan trying on hats before she bought one, and because I was sort of there waiting for her, I used to sit myself down and had seats with little like dressing tables with mirrors on, so you could try hats on. And I used to get a few hats and I used to try them on. I never bought any, though. I don't like wearing hats except to keep my head warm in winter. So that was buying hats. One of the other things Nanan used to do was whistle. She was quite proud of herself because she'd learnt to whistle when she was younger. And so she didn't whistle while we were shopping, or if we were out in public anywhere. But when she was at home or at our house, she'd be walking around doing whatever she was doing, and she'd be whistling away tunefully. But she always told me it was frowned upon when she was young, and she learnt to whistle, but she didn't do it in front of other people because she'd got told off about it so often. Ladies don't whistle. And she did. Except she whistled more tunefully than that. She was good at it. So, of course, when I was young, I learnt to whistle, and I learnt to whistle like that, just like that. But I also learnt to whistle through my fingers, which I can't do anymore, like that, and also like that. so I could whistle in at least three different ways. I can't remember if I learnt to whistle any other way. I'm not sure if there is another way. Anyway, I could whistle in three different ways, but I don't think I can still do that. I haven't tried lately. Um, and one of the other things that Nanan had a few of was fans. Not people who think she's well. She had a few people who thought she was wonderful, but not fans like pop stars have fans, or actors have fans, or something like that has a fan, a person who thinks they're wonderful. These were the fans that you cooled yourself with when it was warm. So you had this sort of um, thing that splayed out like that and folded right up tight when you didn't want it splayed out. And I haven't got one, so I can't show you one. But my cousin Daphne got those. Um, my Nanan's fans were like peacock feathers, all on little sticks of bamboo or something like that, that came into to the sort of overlapped onto each other and came down into a point there where they were held, so they could rotate and open, and rotate back and close again. And there were some other feathers as well. I can't remember what they were. And then there were some which were made of paper that sort of concertinaed up and had beautiful pictures painted on them. They were lovely. Um, your daddy Brian and I went to Greenwich a while back when I was visiting him in London. Him and Kate in London, and we we went to the fan museum because I wanted to look and see if I could see any of the fans similar to the ones I remember my Nanan having, but there weren't any there that were anything like the ones she used to have. So I think that's it really for Nanan now. I've said plenty. If I think of more, I'll do another snippet for you. Okay.